I'm a minute. I'm a minute too late. Oh, there's no such thing as too late when time don't exist and you're not going too far in the future and not too far in the past. Shout out to Corey Ryan and In Essence. Man, please, that name, that's crazy. Now, Martin, blessing. And I only wanna be with you. Shout out to Hootie and the Blowfish for making some good music. At least a good song, pretty decent song. At least a good song, pretty decent song. Make you sing it over and over. But peace and blessings, y'all. Happy now. And yeah, Green, what's up? And essence, blessings. Gonna get into the vibes of the energies. Not necessarily getting into the full moon in Gemini per se, but matter of fact, full moon in Gemini coming on the 22nd of November, which is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, should be. Yep, today the 21st. And also just the energies again like fluctuating. Like every now and then we go through, you know, what I've heard some say speak on, like these solar, how can I say, solar flares or solar bats. However, coming and hitting us and causing the energies in our auric field to adjust and grow. You also, now I know for sure, like a lot of the downloads I get too is like the vibe of the earth vibration, raising as well and causing, excuse me, fluctuation in energy, especially in the lower chakras. you know uh Matter of fact, just waiting for a few more, but I'm about to soon start. Matter of fact, and also before we start, I wanna start with a Papa Legba invocation. Matter of fact, the invocations right here have been used by many generations of Santeros with great success. Santerios or Santeros. Dealing with Santeria. Santeria is just basically more of the Spanish version of dealing with the Yoruba. Of West Africa and like the Benin area. But so again, the invocations that like the one I'm about to use, has been used by many generations of Santerios with great success, a fact proven by the tremendous growth and popularity of the quote unquote religion. Most importantly, though, Risha seem to know what is being said to them, and to Santerios or Santeros, that is all that matters. So with me saying that is also like I'm about to speak. It's kind of like a Yoruba, you could say, language or the best interpretation. But just dealing with Ilegua, Papa Legba, open the doors between the seen and unseen, made a veil lift. Our pineals become, you know, more and more open. First Papa Legba, Ashe. Ishu Ilewa Ogo Bobo Namirin Ita Alagwana Baba Mi Mulo Nu Buruku Nitosile Chancho Kuele Kweko Oke Kose Iyo Kose Uku Kose Ano Ni Oru Ko Mi Bobo Omanal Fu Kweko Mudupu Babami Ilewa Ashe. Matter of fact, also gonna kind of speak on Yemaya a little later. But dealing with the energies right now, just more so first off, like body wise, like I caught myself just again this vibe of having these type of munches just out of this world, and even away from the herb smoke, like just wanting to just eat, any and everything in sight. Testing the theory, like I done had a few quote unquote unhealthy things, but done woke up. And of course, I know it has some effect to a certain extent, but I'm also realizing too, like whenever these energies are high, it's like the perfect time to program your subconscious with ease to a certain extent, if that makes sense. Like it seems like just if you kind of just go with the flow of a belief in the moments when those energies high, you could kind of just like again, it's just easier to sway your subconscious whenever these energies surging, if that makes sense. Because I also feel a lot of being able to eat, whatever is kind of just having that vibe of like, man, I'm sourcing a human experience, and we going through these upgrades, and my my inner that inner fire is gonna burn up all this. As a matter of fact, when we going through all these upgrades, these energies moving through our nervous system, because again, we are, we got the heart that deals with electricity and the brain. So besides the fact of just subtle energy in general, you got the electrical surges going through the body. And speaking of electrical surges, I'm gonna also kind of speak on malachite and copper as well. But like the vibe just don't feel like so basically right now may not be a good time to practice being a breatharian, or eating, a little bit of food, or like fasting, unless you're adept, or you just really feel the vibe that like you just feel without a doubt that this is really helping you and beneficial. Like if you're feeling like you're kind of forcefully trying to starve yourself in that type of vibe, then like, nah, your body is telling you like, bro, feed me some nutrition. We going through some shit, we're going through some light changes, and we need some fuel to burn. It's kind of like on a vibe like, well, if you know our car had a consciousness on a vibe, and like one day it's like some energy going through the car, and it's like, a matter of fact, and just like us, like where this energy is coming, just like Tesla was teaching us about energy, free energy, coming in, just like how we're able to use a cell phone, but ain't no wire connecting it, you know what I'm saying? Like just energy, we being able to communicate, without no wire connection, just like we, again, the technology, but bringing in this energy from out of nowhere. Like say for instance, again, like a car. If a car was doing this, you could just throw anything in the gas tank, and it's like, bro, it'll run off or whatever you put in that thing right now. Like that's kind of the vibe that we dealing with right now. Not no excuse to just go way off the meter. Follow your intuition. But at the same time, again, don't be too over logical about it. You know, but it do seem like it is the time for where you a little cheating on the diet is in order. You could get away with a little bit of that vibe. And again, right now, just that that whether you want to say first or second sun, that sun rising within us right now. When they talk about Nibiru and all this, that's an internal sun. You know, we matter of fact, that's gonna correlate again to the primordial mother energy. But like the pineal gland area, the area in the brain called the nigra substantia, was a high concentration of neuromelanin. And I also thought about like it's also necessarily getting a tan from the fact that the the pineal, the more the pineal shining in there, the more of a tan is, is getting inside of there. At least that's the vibe. Again, I didn't see this in no book or anything. This was my own little, That's another thing too. And for new people who just may have started subscribing and haven't gone through my older videos, a lot of my information, of course, I do research, through, you know, watching and listening to lectures, to, going through certain little books, and doing certain, doing research. But, it's also a lot of inner gnosis, just things that, like I've been blessed with with a type of intuition that kind of just picks up on, again, and a lot of us are like that just in general, like, and I done made videos about that, like, of course, get our book knowledge, especially if we sharing information, we want to be able to reference, hey, this came from so and so book or this and that, or I was listening to this video or such and such, some type of little reference, to fall back on. But hey, what I was gonna say. Oh, like a lot of the information that I share, again, is like a lot of inner gnosis, a lot of things that, matter of fact, when I think about, which I'm gonna get to in a few, with malachite, and how I did a video a while back about malachite transforming, and like I didn't see that in no books ever said anything about malachite, or even about crystals transforming to that level, but something just told me, like, make a video about malachite, transforming, and two, in so many words, realizing too, like when we, getting these downloads and channeling this information, in so many words, we speaking this old English language that's vibrating at a lower frequency, and we're getting these high vibrational messages. So we may not be always using the best terminologies to, articulate these messages. But for the most part, transforming, for lack of a better word, almost like evolving, in essence, you know. But yeah, a lot of things that I share is a lot of, inner gnosis, as well as the studying as well. Now dealing with matter of fact, Mercury in retrograde, and this full moon in Gemini. So you got like this double Mercury energy. Mercury dealing with, the air and communication. You know, beware of stiffness in opinions, ideas, and philosophies. And and with dealing with that, also be aware of it in communication, like when you're talking to somebody, be aware of how, stiff, you don't want to be too stiff on the opinions, ideas, and philosophies. It could be miscommunications. So just be aware of the communications. You may not want to be, again, doing too much on a communication level. And that's also, remembering that Mercury also deals with commerce, like, dealing with conversing about, like business deals, stuff like that. You might want to slow down, hold back on that for a second. But for the most part, I catch the vibe of just, you know, being aware of that stiffness of opinion, ideas, and philosophies. Because I saw myself, because another thing too, and that's why there's so much growth that comes from being able to admit like your own faults and slip ups. Because I felt myself have a moment of like getting stiff about like a certain ideal and philosophy, and and I caught it. I'm like, nah, man, loosen up a little bit. Like I don't know where that's coming from, but but that's the energy. And matter of fact, dealing with the Mercury energy, you know, communication with self. Beware of being too much in the thoughts, too much mental chatter and self talk. So constantly check ourselves for being in the now and not being too, off into the past, or too worried about the future and not enjoying the moment. you know, at hand, being present and what we're doing. Having a strong awareness of the power of our words and thoughts, you know, and it's in these moments. And also just to, you know, with the full moon is like reaping what we sow from the new moon. You know, we set those intentions during the new moon, the full moon, and starting to, you know, show those things or bring those things to light. But also the full moon again kind of amplifies the energy dealing with our emotions. So again, we got emotions kind of, you know, bubbling up kind of strong. Again, the terminology lunatics, you know, lunatics, but you know, lunatics from the full moon, you know, that lunar cycle, you know, even dealing with the woman, you know, that cycle, you know, uh, brings a certain type of energy. You know, matter of fact, malachite, and something else good for that. But matter of fact, again, getting back to copper, but that helps with the you know, the female sexual organs and dealing with the, you know, the menstrual cycle. But you know, again, the emotions kind of, you know, gonna be at a high to a certain extent. So dealing mixing that with the communication of Mercury and being in our, you know, our heads. So being in your head with high emotions, you know what I'm saying, and then trying to communicate at a time with an energy that's making it harder to communicate, and, you know, and understand each other. You know, that could be a world of trouble. So again, want to be aware to not just you know, just be head first on some vibes when we communicate and making sure we being aware that we to not fall into stiffness or stubbornness on our little opinions, ideals, and philosophies and point of view, so to speak. Also beware of the media and the news probably taking a little swing at using this energy to, you know, bring forth a lot of little confusing, you know, information, or just flooding, you know, a bunch of little miscellaneous information just to have everybody, you know, because again, playing off of the fact that they know a lot of people may, you know, be in their thoughts, you know, a lot dealing from the, you know, dealing with the energy. And again, they are aware of these things. Ronald Reagan had an astrologist working with him and would make sure he consult with that astrologist before he signed paperwork. You know, it's facts. But again, news media. Matter of fact, and I heard somebody speak of this in a video. Shout out to the channel Higher Self. You know, but and it resonated with me because again, I've been speaking on videos, speaking to, you know, Hollywood and, you know, what it is, B.F. Skinner and Aldous Huxley and this dystopia vibe, and, you know, social engineering people, but like how they did the War of the Worlds with what's his name, uh something Wells. I don't feel like getting up and get the book, but Orson Welles, I think, where they did the War of the Worlds, broadcast this on a radio. Basically, they broadcast a situation as if, you know, some aliens was taking over, and they made a bunch, you know, had a bunch of people panicking and this and that. But they basically was not only playing with people to see how serious they would take, you know, those type of broadcasts, to see how much more they could fake shit and play with people, but also using it as an excuse to say, well, see, and that's why we hold some information back, because, you know, you may panic, and, you know, you may do this, and, you know, for your safety, you know, like type of bullshit. You know, and then they hit you with those type of lines for so long, you start to believe the bullshit that you know, they continuously push from that area. But definitely be aware of that energy. Blessings, y'all. I'm going with the flow right here. those 81, 8 811 blessings, psychedelic blessings, lucid blah blessings, comedian Barry Allen blessings, Smokey Wonster blessings. All right, Amanda Correa, Belinda Bennett. It was H.G. Wells. All right, not arson. Matter of fact, I got the book right here. I just matter of fact, let me not do that. Let's see. Oh. All right. Wait, he did War of the Worlds, but I wonder if somebody broadcasted. All right, yeah. So it was H.G. Wells' famous novel, uh, but Orson Welles was the one behind broadcasting that novel on the radio. So it's just two people with the last name Wells. You know, supposedly no relation. But yeah, that's the whole. I was like, all right, because I remember coming across two Wells, H.G. Wells and Orson Welles. You know, matter of fact, a good book right here, uh, by J. Dyer. Pretty good little references and analysis. But, again, and fixing childhood trauma, dealing with that energy. Because matter of fact, like for myself, like in order for us to, that like to really move forward, we gotta clean out all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Unless when you transition, you wanna be stopped and be like, like your heart got that scale tipping heavier than that feather. Like you must be holding on to something back down there. You must want to go take care of something, take care of some type of business back down there. You know, so you don't want that that vibe going for you. But yeah, fixing the childhood trauma. Doing root chakra work. You know, the root of the way we act. And deal with things. That all stems from the beginning stage is like the first 3 years, and then in essence first seven. And I had that chakra book that spoke on where you, like, when you were born, where you first held in your parents' arms, you know uh in your mom's arms, and she loved you and hugged you, or when you were born, where you held by doctors who slap you on the ass and poke you with some drugs, and then you couldn't even go to your mama because she was drugged up. That all deals with your, the beginnings of your psychology and your energy. That's why they do that shit. And it's a hierarchy, so some doctors who actually, doctors, they don't really know what, you know, at least it seemed that they don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure, just like with anything, it's one or two that might get the picture, but again, because there's so much healthiness, in the natural birth and being in the natural environment, in that situation. And then what comes next, the next part of us, and again, I always bring up, don't blame the parents, but, you know, the right or wrong, desired behavior or undesired, desired behavior or undesired behavior. Like, oh, that's cool, but that's not. That's right, but that's wrong. And then as you do things, matter of fact, that's what kind of as the beginning stages of creating the shadow self. Is with that, and also again kind of programming our subconscious as well. Like, all right, my mom and dad and family want to see this out of a person. Da, 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 da. That's kind of why I quit college, feeling like like I was in it for other people and not in it for myself. You know, with that type of energy. But again, fixing childhood trauma is definitely so. A lot of us, if we find ourselves back in the areas where we grew up in, that is the reason. We all growing at different rates, so it all. But, and kind of stepping into the primordial mother energy. How much that energy mixed with this the Sirius, the star Sirius. Uh, the dog star. Think about the Dogon tribe. In the area of Mali. Timbuktu. West Africa. You know, saying that they talk to like these fish beings. The that basically how they find out how Sirius A and Sirius B, rotates around each other, almost like and I say almost like, but like a DNA strand, in essence. Matter of fact, the end of Jupiter ascending plays on that energy as well to show you how they know all, they know what time it is. But like it ends with the planets looking like, rotating as if the DNA strands. But the Dogon tribe knowing this orbit. Matter of fact, later on, when some French scientists come along later, they like how y'all again, that's how they end up finding out and how the story got out there. It's like, oh, like this tribe said they found out from this these little fish beings, this and that, and you see the little picture with the fish. Matter of fact, I'm looking down as if I still got that book, that Flower of Life book, which is a pretty good book. It's a little 2-volume book. But yeah, the whole situation right now, though, with the Nubaru, the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the giants, you see it all through, the movies and the mythologies, the different religious stories, it's all about, you know, uh, demonizing certain beings, and one man's God is another man's devil. You know, like when I was speaking about the energy with Set, Set, is the god in the Egyptian, or should I say Kemetic pantheon, dealing with like Set against versus Horus, but that story gets to Set versus Horus, and even down to Set raping Horus, so many words in the story, but one man's God is another man's devil, and also with the changing of lineage, or like through times, different philosophies, come up and say, for instance, pre-dynastically, Set was known as the energy, again like the Lucifer energy, that Saturn, that dark soot, and matter of fact, also connected with the Kundalini energy, because falling from that heaven, or that pineal, going down into the root chakra, you know, and that's like dealing with the Kundalini, the snake, and then rising up, back up, and that's also kind of considered dealing with the Christ energy. But again, another thing dealing with pre-dynastically and just on an ancient level, we knew better than looking at things as right or wrong, or you know, we were on a certain level of consciousness where we didn't even need, that moralistic reinforcement, you know, that came, and more so like when we started passing out, these scriptures and, dealing with the mystery schools and, sharing this information and writing out scripts to different other little empires, so to speak, but again, the set energy, was never anything evil. Just like again, like the Lucifer energy or Saturn energy is not evil. Like it's all experience. And you just have polar experience. You got light, dark, positive, negative. You know, but it never was any good or bad, right or wrong. That's why, like with like the 42 laws of Maya, part of it was speaking on more so like I know I'm not the ego or the person that's doing this. Like I know I'm not the person that's doing this or that. Like in so many words, like knowing I'm a guide on the human experience and not to be taking none of this shit to heart because I don't want my heart weighing heavier than this feather on this scale. You know. And it had a lot to do with that as well. So, in a pre-dynastic view, again, Set wasn't anything evil. But then when this new rulership came in, you know, it's like they was like, all right, they worship Set and dealt with Set on a higher level. Forget that. We putting Osiris and Isis over Set, we putting Horus over Set, and we putting uh Ra over Set. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Set is now evil. And that's just like example. I got these calligrapher pens, and these calligrapher pens, I consider like just for speaking, I worship these calligrapher pens. Oh man, I love these calligrapher pens. These are the best ever. You know, and let's just say they probably are. Best ever calligrapher pens ever. But then somebody come take over my land, take over my house, and then they see like all my little scriptures and how I spoke about like how amazing these calligrapher pens was, and how great and benevolent the calligrapher pens was, and they'll be like, man, it's new rulership is this and that. Calligrapher pens are now considered evil. Matter of fact, anybody in possession of calligrapher pens shall be hung. This and that. And not to say it was on that level, in Kemet, but again, though, the vibes will switch up as far as like the descriptions of certain, gods. So, and the whole homosexual vibe where it gets personified is when, the Aleister Crowleys and certain people. Just say Aleister Crowley. But it's more than just him. That's why I was like, but like get their hands on the literature and have a certain vibe that they are promoting and dealing with. Then they use that the not they don't really they know of the pre-dynastic version of Set, but they kind of again also use the the how can I say the dynastic, I guess you could say, view of Set as well, especially like kind of playing on the homosexual vibe. And again, this is descriptions of energies, so they're not even really saying Set is homosexual as much as they're saying that Set is an energy, from the primordial mother, and the primordial mother meaning that has the strong feminine energy, but Set is also male, so it just has like a you know on an energetic level, almost like a androgynous type of energy, so that's why it's, again, then somebody take it and turn it into, however they want to, deal with the information and view it. And also, Set is a representation of the star Sirius as well. But lately I've been coming across all these different vibes with with Set, and just the energy again just coming to me. Because matter of fact, after I made that video, definitely go check out the 11 video and Snakes on the Plane, because I get into that information on there. But I come across this X, I find this X a few days after, you know, and again, that's how I know inner gnosis too, like speaking on a lot of this information. Now, as I'm speaking on it though, matter of fact, shout out to Bobby Hemmett. But Gerald Massey book, let's see, Ancient Egypt, The Light of the World. This will kind of speak to a lot of the, straight up, melanated comedic roots of like the information. You know, Again, that's Ancient Egypt, The Light of the World by Gerald Massey. Gerald, Gerald, Massey, Massey. And I may have that on PDF, so y'all might just probably want to hit me up on Instagram. But come across this little symbol, and that's also like I think about like they speak of this symbol here, like the nectar symbol. Some people speak of it as a flag, or like an axe, you know. But again, it is the matter of fact, the nectar symbol, a matter of fact, one of a very important symbol in the Kemetic language. And it was said that Set opened up, the basically cut his mom's you could say cutting open his mom's vagina, quote unquote, but cutting open. Appreciate that super chat, blessing. Cutting open, his mom's vagina, again, the primordial mother. And also you're gonna see it in movies and all the little cartoons, movies, all that, where it's always about this primordial God. And I'm gonna kind of step into the movie realm a little bit as well. We think about Doctor Strange, like the primordial darkness, and always making this scary, because that's also stemming into H.P. Lovecraft's work with the Necronomicon as well. But again, this little axe, cutting into, so that netter symbol, because again, dealing with the meta netter, which is basically again dealing with the breaking down the Kemetic language. And it's also shaped like a 7, again. But the representation also was just the busting of the south gate of the primordial mother, in essence, or like the black hole. And you're also gonna see a correlation with Ophiuchus in this energy as well. Because Ophiuchus also is basically, like, say for instance, I did a video a while back about shamanic anchoring, and how we anchoring into the center of the universe, and the center of the galaxy, so to speak, or should I say. And with that, it speaks on how the center of the galaxy is in between, the Scorpio and Sagittarius constellation. And that's where, Ophiuchus is, the two snakes, And matter of fact, again, Ophiuchus also, in essence, representing the Kundalini. And if I'm also not mistaken, also one of the only signs that's like both masculine and feminine, because you got feminine and masculine signs, and they break down evenly. But again, with that number 13, that you got 6 and 6 making 12. With Ophiuchus, that make it 13. But that one being again like a androgynous energy, and speaking to Set again. And we have these different connections to snakes, and the number 7, You know, because matter of fact, the number, you know, 7 in the word sept, you know, like September, you know, the 7th month. Because that's another thing, dealing with Sirius and Set, and why we dealing with all this energy right now. Uh, what I was gonna say. Oh, the Gregorian calendar, you know, has it to where they basically tracking the alignment of Earth, the Sun, and the star Sirius. You know, so that's what the New Year is based off of. So the New Year is not really truly, you know, the New Year that we always kept up with. That's more so something again that came up later to keep track of. Basically, when you know, again, when the melanated people's gonna, you know, arise and wake up, and again, you know, like doing the research and everything, realizing that everything is again about like you know the black dot or you know the darkness, you know, from the darkness of the womb, man, let there be you know light, you know, I'm doing my best to have all my videos lined up to reference each other because I used to have these deep builds on I mean I used to like they're still on the channel but on like the devil aspect and also too how like with the Powerpuff Girls like they had the devil character that was displayed somewhat with a heavy feminine aspect because I think about like damn the Powerpuff Girls was coming heavy low key with that type of energy you know on us as youngsters but you know, but just how a lot of times that devil vibe would be also depicted as somewhat womanish, you know. Like I think about the movie Berserk as well, well, anime movie in essence named Berserk. But you know, you see all the little correlations across the board again, you know. But the little acts, the 7 breaking the south gate, you know, the serpent in it. Matter of fact, that's also dealing with the linguistics, you know, with like the S like the word slither, you know, like the word starts with S because it goes with the way the word is shaped. I mean, the letter is shaped in essence. I forgot the actual name for what that's called, you know. But say for like the word mountain, you know, starts with M and M is shaped like mountains. You know, breast, you know, starts with a B and B are shaped like breast. You know, like there, you know, there's a connection with those energies as well. And I'm also bringing up a connection with Yemaya as well. And again, just showing all these correlations. And again, this inner gnosis, this me just being led to, you know, information after information. But I had to get this out. Like I was feeling like a bubble about to burst. I'm like, I gotta get, you know, you know, all this information out. You know, but I'm gonna be reading a little bit. So basically, I'm about to just you know, share some of the information about Yemaya. But reading from this book, Rituals and Spells of Santeria by McGinney Gonzalez Whippler. Yemaya is the goddess of the sea waters and a symbol of maternity. Her name is derived from the Yoruba title Yeye Omo Eya or Eja, which means the mother whose children are the fish. And stop right there. You know, when I talked about Sirius, the star Sirius, you know, and the Mali people, the Dogon tribes, speaking of how they got the information from these fish-like beings, or, you know, the mother. So again, her name is derived from the Yoruba title Yeye Omo Eha, which means the mother whose children are the fish. Her cult comes from the city of Eba in Nigeria. She is represented, and when they say cult, because I heard people minds go somewhere right there. That's just the way, you know, they speaking on it, but in essence, they may have like you know certain you know in essence cults that where they just you know deeply instilled in it on that level. You so I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Her coat comes from the city of Eba in Nigeria. She's represented as the beautiful matron with prominent breasts. Her colors are blue and white, and her number is 7. In Santeria, she has been syncretized with Our Lady of Regla. But what I want to get into, again, her number is 7 because she's also tied to the 7 seas. And when we speak of 7 and the 7 seas, I think about how I've been, tied, coming close to these movies of like, uh, the Seven Deadly Sins movie with, matter of fact, it's called Seven, dealing with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. Also been watching the Seven Deadly Sins, the anime series on Netflix, and also with Full Metal Alchemist had the Seven Deadly Sins, and you see this connection with darkness again, like this personification of darkness being, bad, but like with the Yemaya and the seven and seven deadly, you know, seven deadly sins, could be seen also as this seven negative aspects of the seven chakras, but like the 7 seas, because also that goes into Sinbad, the anime dealing with magi. I forgot, but it's 3 different little series, but dealing with, again, like the Sinbad Aladdin type of vibe. They kind of deal with it from that perspective. But Sinbad is known as the one who sailed the 7 seas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's conquering the chakras. And on the cartoon, he goes like you have magic abilities and you become like stronger, or you obtain new magical abilities by capturing a dungeon, so to speak. So like going to a certain finding a certain place that has this type of like God-like energy, but you have to go through the maze of wherever, like whether it's in the dungeon or a building, cave, wherever, under the sea, wherever. But if make it through that, then you are worthy of, obtaining that weapon or energy. And I forgot what they would call it, like, your vessel, like a certain like magic vessel. Like, oh, you got a magic vessel, you could arm this god, or this and that. But that also has to, connect with the, again, you know, the 7 chakras, the Kundalini energy, the Kundalini serpent. And matter of fact, I think about Joshua 6, chapter 6, verse 3, 4. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. But, this walking around 7 days, 7 times, rotating like a circle. The 7 chakras are wheels, that's what the name chakra, stands for. You know, which they have a comedic name that Shaklina. I can't remember the name, but that existed before, the name chakra. But again, it's a spinning wheel. And then also, Revelation got so many reference to, the seven, 7 churches, 7 this, but Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. Again, the 7 chakras, and also dealing with the serpent energy. Dragon Ball Z, you get the 7 Dragon Balls together. You get your 7 chakras in alignment. Your Kundalini is able to raise from the root chakra, raise from the wilderness. Moses raising snakes from the wilderness. Like, the chaos, the wilderness, the root chakra. Jesus was born in the manger, where all the shit at, like they got animals, you know. Set was also represented as a donkey. You got a Bible verse about Jesus riding the ass into Jerusalem, I think, if I'm not mistaken, into the holy city, almost like a personification of like taming the you know, the lower nature. But again, with the set energy, again, there's no good or bad, right or wrong. You know, it's just light and dark energies. You know, and one man's God is another man's devil, and that's where you get H.P. Lovecraft, in which I just found out about something, heard something about him actually being racist. I didn't even know that. Like I thought, you know, I never you know, knew of that. But you know, he have this book, the Necronomicon. It's called like a magical grimoire. Like it's like a magical book of spells and this and that he just, you know, happen to channel. In which that's a smart way to deal with any type of information if you kind of point to some truth, but you don't want to, you know, it's a little too early for its time. You know, you make it seem fictional. But I mean, even down to, you know, and shout out to Bobby Hemmett getting into this as well, joking about like the shove nigger wrath. You know, like that's one of the great old ones. Cause matter of fact, that's what the Necronomicon about, the return of the great old ones, these dark monsters. You know, which is a personification of our primordial God self, and in essence, a personification of you know the gods returning on Earth, and a lot of the gods returning on and when I say guys, just also guys, but just more so. Uh, well, you could say gods in essence, but also you just want to say the energy of source in human bodies. You know, like there are certain uh, again with the melanin, the carbon being activated, and also you know you could go look up how the carbon is changing up like the two brothers that won the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing that up, and I got a video about that. But you know these energies are changing and activating. They knew of this, you know. That's what Aleister Crowley again with this Eon of Horus and you know the Eon of Maya, you know, which Kenneth Grant kind of get into. In the matter of fact, Kenneth Grant also took over the OTO at one time, outside the circles of time, you know. And I also got that on PDF, and I could definitely send that. Again, y'all just hit me up on Instagram about if any of these books I'm bringing up. I could send it to you. As a matter of fact, I got to get used to reading things over the like tablets and the internet stuff like that. But it's good information, so I know I'm gonna sit there and get it in. But again, with the Necronomicon, you know, and necro like the dead, because dealing with, you know, the dark, the black, oh, black death, black plague, you know, all these play on words. Matter of fact, I forgot the video, but I did a video recently about the 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 maritime law language and dealing with like the court and church. Uh, I did it not too long ago, and I bring up like the you know the essence with the bringing up the energy, you know, with down in the words like black and you know dark and stuff like this. But again, and also H.P. Lovecraft were kind of set the blueprint for you know that gothic horror type of vibe from here on out. You know, and again, it's all about like being scared of some deep waters. You know, being scared of snakes. You know, Medusa is a personification of that. You know, as a matter of fact, Medusa is the full personification of. She got snakes coming out her head. One aspect. She a female. You know, that's another aspect. And what else? Oh, and just that primordial, you know, God energy. That's why she's seen as like this monster. You know, uh, but again, the shove nigger wrath, like Nigguarath. Like how close could H.P. Lovecraft get? You know, and again, like, and it lines up so much to where again, and there's a fact that you know, to you know, part of people wanting to oppress, you know, the melanated people across the globe, and again, and on a collateral damage vibe, just oppressing them, just fucking up the whole world, you know. you got to keep certain information, away. Like you're not gonna let a person's or people's know, what's going on. And again, that's where you get the whole vibe too, turning things into, the evil energy again. Satan, which is the Saturn energy as well. Saturn, again, back to the carbon and melanin. Carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. The 666. And going into the Baphomet, the scapegoat. The Saturn energy. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Capricorn is a goat. The scapegoat. Like instead of like, again, we knew the balance of source, so that Lucifer aspect was not seen as evil. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that in essence considered that savior from, that whole vibration. Being in the experience of just higher self. And being like that savior that brought us down to experience something physical. And again, as we get into this physical world and I get caught up and washed up in it, that Christ energy raise up, and make sure we don't, get caught up in the little physical world that we came down into the experience, you know. And that also points back to the heart chakra and dealing with, Venus and the mother. Like no coincidence that malachite is a good crystal for like midwife and then, bringing forth the motherly energy. Because again, this is also about the divine feminine energy moving in as well, you know, and also a connection with the number 9. You know, we think about the number 9. You think about feminine. Feminine, and we talk about the Lyran beings, and I got a videos on the Lyran beings. You go check that out. Lyran. But like say for instance, a feline having 9 lives. Cat have 9 lives, and then you got this festival called Navaratri. In India is like called the 9 Night Festival. And matter of fact, let me kind of check my notes on that. But it's this certain little festival. So a 9 night festival celebrating the Divine Mother, sacred feminine, and the Kundalini life force that animates all. It's one of the most important bi-yearly festivals for humanity to participate in, but especially males. As more men fast, chant, pray, and offer their actions and results to Divine Mother in devotion, patriarchy and toxic masculinity is swallowed up by Kali Ma. Because again, Kali Ma, so say for instance, the Shiva Shakti, is about the destruction, you know. But again, uh, like I think about like the verse with J Electronica, you either build or destroy where you come from. But like not building, you have the either you build or destroy in that aspect, but we are builders and destroyers, but destroyers of, the old, destroyers of things that's no longer working, no longer relevant, longer beneficial to our continuation of our, evolution and growth. And also Kali Ma deals with breaking down the ego. Speaking of that Kali Ma energy, if you want a good Kali Ma mantra, to purge, kind of like to basically kind of purge the ego, but be aware, because matter of fact, I saw it had the one that only few use this mantra, and I only use it when I'm just really just trying to, definitely like purge the ego, almost like on a DMT trip type of vibe. But it's Om Shri Maha Kali Kaye Namaha. Om Shri SRI Maha Maha Kali Kaye. That's KaliKayai and Namaha Namah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Namaha. But and also like Kali consort is Shiva, and Shiva also deals with, the destruction. you know, but the masculine vibe of it, you know. So Kali Ma and Shiva more so connected with the, you know, the pure consciousness, you know, and destruction, you know. Because matter of fact, you got the just to go into a little bit, the Brahman Shakti deals with, you know, creation, and the consort is like Saraswati. You know, you got Vishnu Shakti, which deals with sustenance, that deals with Lakshmi. Then you got Shiva Shakti, deals with destruction and deals with Kali as the consort. You know, the supreme power, so to speak. You know, dealing with the Hindu pantheon, so to speak. But again, that number 9. So again, that's why I went to that, speaking on that festival, because that number 9 energy, you know, also connects with, you know, the feminine energy, and how 9 goes into, you know, and then all numbers in the essence. Let's see. You know, whether let's see, 9 plus 2. Like when you're breaking down 9 goes into everything, you know. So let's see. Are basically allowing for that number to come back into itself. You see what I'm talking about? And also time. You know, where when you adding, you know, 9 plus 1, you know, that equal 10, and you're breaking it down. You know, when you're doing your numerology, it go back to, you know, 1. So automatically, when you like looking at, you know, breaking down numerology or breaking down, you know, numbers to their lowest value, you know, because that's how you deal with the language of the universe, or the numerology. You know, the 9 plus, you know, 5 end up being 14, but 4 plus 1 end up going back to 5. You know, in multiplication, 9 times 2 equal 18. 8 plus 1 is 9. You know, 9 times 3, 27. 7 plus 2, 9. And then, you know, all the way down, it'll go all the way back to 9. You know, that also, again, deals with that, you know. And it also speaks to the Taurus field energy as well, you know, because again, we're speaking of a black hole, you know, the darkness of the womb, chaos, you know, the chaos, like everything again depicting about like, oh, it's you know, it's very chaotic in that black hole, you know, in the darkness of the womb, man. You know, the subconscious mind. Excuse me, the dark matter inside the atom that CERN is, you know, trying to see what's inside and going on with that. Like that's all dealing with, you know, the chaos, you know, the pure potential, you know, because before something manifests, you know, again from that darkness of pure potential, you know, that chaotic darkness, you know, without any light boundaries, you know, until Saturn came around, you know, establishing boundaries, or that first bit of light, or Lucifer, you know, or Satan, you know, aka Saturn, or the devil, you know, or Baphomet. And matter of fact, speaking of Baphomet with the 5 pointed star, you know, in which, you know, 5 pointed star facing down is just meaning bringing the energy into the body, because we are here on a human experience, you know. So again, no bad or good or evil, you know, it's none of that energy. But then also with the 5, you know, our Taurus field has like you know, like a little, I want to say like a little 5, like a little pentagon type of, you know, vibe to it. You know, our Taurus field, my little stick man with the little Taurus field, like a little apple, you know. But you know, that the Taurus field also has like this 5-sided vibe to it as well, you know. And in the Taurus field is like a black hole, you know, again dealing with this chaos, you know, this this dark energy, you know, and you think about also dealing with the Baphomet, but dealing with a lot of the dealing with demons and the 666 connection. You also got the 72 Goetia, and the 72 Goetia, are you think about the lesser keys of Solomon. That's all just a percent because the Temple of Solomon is about the body. That's what the Freemasons get into. Like the square, the T square deals with the representation of masculine energy. The little compass, the little thing that make the circles, make circles. Feminine energy deals with the feminine energy. You know, I I kind of lost what I was moving a little quick right there, but just backtracking, dealing with again the vibe of the Baphomet, the 5-pointed star, and again, the 72 go. Oh, that's what I was talking about, the Temple of Solomon, the Temple of Solomon, and also like again, that's just a representation of the body, you know, Jachin and Boaz, pillars within the temple or within on the porch of the temple in essence. But again, these 72 Goetia, like these extra 272 vortexes within the pineal area, also existing, are in essence existing or amplifying the other five senses, but the other five senses on the extrasensory perception level, so the clear sentience, clairvoyance, clair audient, like clear hearing, clear tasting, like you know, when activating those, 72 demons or damians, these 72 energies. Because again, like in most cases, one man God is another man's devil. And when somebody's trying to hide your knowledge from you and, make things seem like it's so hard to break down and stuff like that, so you won't know what's going on, you know, there's going to be demons and the great old ones and, monsters and, stuff like that. A lot of that was created again, not like again, it was kind of like the play of like, oh yeah, we don't know what's really going on. I discovered this information, this and that, but also a vibe of them knowing what they was dealing with and knowing not to just straight up be running it. That's why again the Freemason. I say that's why they exist, but to the extent of like these different lodges and stuff like where they discuss you know what really go down, behind the closed doors and how they want to deal with present that information. But back to the 72 Goetia, amplifying those five senses, 72 times 5, 360, the ring of Solomon, you know, or the ring of Sauron, Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, Saturn, Sauron, Set, Soot, and also known as Soot Typhon. Typhon also again dealing with this snake energy, and it's across the board down to like, you think about the, in the Hindu pantheon, some of the gods having snakes around their neck, and the name connected to that, Naga. And then you go into Ethiopia because the Kush Empire stretched over all the way up to Angkor Wat to that area, the Kush Empire, where you got the Negus Nagash, very close to that Naga, in the language. So again, you see these connections with the snakes, and again, because I'm just going with it, I'm on the roll. Ooh, matter of fact, while I'm here and I just passed this, this is a nice little, the alpha omega, like the omega and the alpha turn into the ankh. Also the vagina and the penis. So that's what, it represents eternal life. The womb and the phallic energy. The cross in essence represents, two phalluses crossing together. A bright sun. Like, you're blinding me. you know. Matter of fact, yep, that first, again, from coming out of that mind portal, you know, and again, thinking about as above, so below, you got that shamanic anchoring being connected to the center of the galaxy, aka, you know, that opening within the you know, that chaotic, you know, darkness of that black hole, that triple darkness, you know, in the mom's womb for the 3 trimesters, you know, 9 months, you know, speaking of the number 9 earlier, you know, but that solar phallic, you know, physical energy, you know, the Lucifer, the morning star, you know, and I spoke on how both of Jesus and Lucifer, you know, being the morning star. But again, you see the different correlations. You also again with who that is, with Tiamat, you know, Tiamat from the Babylonian stories. You know, you got Leviathan from the Bible. You know, Tiamat basically was like a sea monster, but also was like a primordial goddess of the sea. You know, again, this primordial goddess dealing with water, you know, or dealing with the number 7, you know, again with the, you know, Yemaya energy that I spoke of earlier, you know, dealing with the number 7 and that primordial energy. You got you know, Lilith, you know, is also another form of the great mother. Uh Matter of fact, and basically when they speak of Lilith, you know, talking about how she sleeps with the men and makes them unclean or filthy, but it's speaking to the, you know, the carbon or the melanin. Uh and that's why again, you know, with the when I speak of that inner sun, you know, awakening and shining internally, you know, speaking of the Negress substantia, you know, and again, this energy, this Kundalini energy, you know, this set energy raising, this primordial mother energy, you know, raising from out of the spine and raising up, you know, this Kundalini, you know, from the darkness below to the darkness above, in essence. But yeah, Marduk and Tiamat, you know, Yahweh versus Leviathan, you know, everything referring to this chaos, you know, Kalima. And then also, again, seeing this little correlation, again, with a lot of movies. And then I did this video on Truman Show, and I spoke on like one of the beginning things in the Truman Show, where like you know, he basically was in a little movie set, you know, and didn't know that he was in a movie set, thought he was living his life in a world that he could go any and everywhere, and but he was really just in a little movie set that looked real. But long story short, you know, one of the lamps fell and it had the label on it that says Sirius, like the star Sirius, you know. And I spoke on go check out that video again. It's like almost like a 2 hour, and it's a two-part video where I get into the Truman Show, but like how that Sirius lamp falling, you know what I'm saying? Also like a personification of that energy, you know, almost like trying to knock that energy to a certain extent, but also like, you know, saying like, hey, don't forget, you know, like this little energy coming back around, you know. Think about Doctor Strange with the chaos being resurrecting, you know, and uh again it made to be look, you know, to look evil. Again, the H.P. Lovecraft, Necronomicon, the great old ones were coming, you know, like these are all, you know, anything with these beings awakening. I think about the gargoyles, you know, the little show. I think that was a Disney show. But the ancient gargoyles awakened by the humans, you know, for which the humans just wanted to use them. And I done made videos about this again, like speaking of like the Devil Kingdom with the fairies and the Pokemon vibe. Like that's a personification, all the Atlantis story about how, you know, these over masculine beings were trying to use these more feminine, you know, more magical beings, you know, in essence, almost like the logic or egoic mind, using the magic energy, but it's also personified or later, as above so below, kind of turn into, physical people playing out those energies, in essence. But again, the chaos energy, the black hole, the middle of the torus field, the center of the galaxy, dealing with Ophiuchus, and Ophiuchus, you know, having the, also being like the snake constellation. And what else? I had something else, you know. Oh, and I spoke on this the seven deadly sins little show, on that also gives the credence. And also this also speaking to how energies move in the cosmos as well, because there's also a situation where you speak on like the energy of the kundalini is called up 3 times in the root chakra, 3.5 times, and then you look to the Draco constellation, because the Draco constellation uh, is also a connection to what we call the draconian beings, or what some may call the reptilian beings in essence. But like there are like 3 main stars that are in that constellation. There's no coincidence, dealing with Draco's the serpent energy, and having 3 main stars within that constellation, kind of again connecting to that serpent energy being called 3 times, at the bottom of the spine. But, and also a connection with the 7 days, not only with the chakras, but 7 days, like with the creation story, it taking 7 days, and after those 7 days, so it's kind of, in essence, got weak, and that's where we get the name weak for 7 days, like that little correlation, and two, also the balancing pH levels, within our body of alkalinity and alkalinity and acidity being balanced somewhere like in that 7 area. And again, also connecting to the the malachite energy, the copper energy, because it's also, again, as much as it's about us raising the kundalini, and opening the third eye, or aka the philosopher's stone, that stone that David killed Goliath with, that's the pineal gland. The giant in essence was like the ego, the lower nature, so to speak. But with that, and sometimes how at that time how the ego or the lower nature was kind of overpowering things, it would be like a big giant person to this little boy. But he had that pineal gland open, that little stone, and he bust Goliath up. But that's all dealing with that same energy. Oh, so and again, the importance of the heart chakra work. We talk about unconditional love. You talk about the little alchemical picture of, Caesar Borgia, aka Jesus, pointing to the heart and pointing up, like the way up is through the heart. You know, because again, it's also having like that humility and humbleness. You know, and because again, realizing there's no good, bad, right or wrong. So also getting into the fact that we're dealing with these quote unquote oppressors and certain people that's trying to keep a certain uh, harmful conditions on this plane of existence. This is just not for us to be like heavy-heartedly like, oh, this and that, or because we know that we again came down into this situation, and in order for us to have some type of pressure to make a diamond, so to speak, you know we have these different experiences going on within this plane of existence. you know. To a certain extent, sometimes I feel like this is about just seeing if we still got it to a certain extent. Like, all right, make sure y'all ass can still wake up and take care of business. But again, that malachite energy, and malachite also being like a carbonate of the class carbonate, so it's also dealing with carbon. But the copper energy, run it right quick. And go check out my two latest videos I did about crystals, the one I just dropped recently, and like the two, what I think it's like 2 hours long. But copper promotes absorption of iron in the female I mean in the female, because I'm speaking so want to speak so much of dealing with the female energy. Copper promotes absorption of iron and in the small intestines and triggers the transformation of stored iron into form that can be transported by the blood. And as I'm speaking on this, that correlation of iron dealing with Mars and that Mars energy connected to Venus, Venus and Mars, that masculine energy, again, that Mars energy also dealing with, iron dealing with the you know, the red color, that's root chakra, but that's also dealing with, at first was the word, 26 letters in our alphabet to use our words, and the word is God, and iron has 26, what, protons and electrons, I guess you could say that's the atomic number of iron. And that's also, again, dealing with being ruled by Mars and also connecting to Aries, the Lamb of God to take away the sins of the world, the head first, being that ram energy. That's all connected. And again, so as above, so below. When we look at copper's correlation with iron, that's also kind of could be looked at as the correlation of masculine, feminine energy in essence, and the correlation of again the Venus and Mars energy. So starting again, copper promotes absorption of iron in the small intestine and triggers the transformation of stored iron into a form that can be transported by the blood. It is a catalyst in the formation of hemoglobin and is responsible for the formation of enzymes that keep the blood vessels elastic. Copper promotes the development of the female sexual organs and helps with menstruation problems. Copper promotes cell growth, cell respiration, and pigmentation of hair and skin. Go check out my video where I speak on covert copper and like the melanin, kind of tapping into the information dealing with melanocytes and tyrosinase and this connection with copper. But uh, but again, all these correlations again, because we're talking about, you know, uh, again, this is from the Necronomicon with Shub Niggerat to the actual aspect of copper, helping with, the pigmentation of hair and skin, dealing with the female organs, again, darkness of the womb, you know, from the darkness of the womb, man, let there be light. The greatest concentrations of copper are in the liver, brain, and blood, and it stimulates all their activities. Copper is effective in lowering the temperature and loosening cramps. It is anti-inflammatory and detoxifying. Copper increases dream activity and promotes the inner world of pictures and imagination and the creative potential resulting from it. Copper helps develop creative imagination and dissolves confusion. It creates neutrality and a balancing of mood and also promotes free expression of feeling. Free expression of feeling, that feminine energy. Copper makes it possible to live out and enjoy the senses and sexuality. Again, feminine energy, sexual energy, dealing with that sacral chakra energy. Sacral chakra has a moon or a crescent moon as its symbol, because the female sexual energy is, in a high vibration in the masculine sexual energy, which is in that root chakra, uh, and even down to the color orange, kind of vibrating at a higher frequency than the color red, like it's a on all levels, the science of it. But and on a spiritual level, copper encourages a sense of aesthetics and beauty, as well as the development of a spiritual culture. It fortifies a sense of justice and promotes friendship and love towards all beings. You know, again, we talk about, unconditional love. Because again, this is not about hating anybody, even with, like the KKK trying to do all their little stuff and the government doing, again, these people are the people who need love the most, and this is not turn other cheek talk, but this is again maintaining your energy, because again, we beings of a high vibration, and why these certain beings are, they, how can I say, just like somebody that's been failing the first grade all the time, but you graduating to higher grades, or of higher grades, you better at speaking on information from them higher grades, or dealing with that energy, compared to trying to outsmart a first grader who been in the first grade for a long time, you know. And we speak to again the energies of the government, and like these beings that they working with, behind the scenes of the Jesuits and Queen Elizabeth, you know, uh, that that whole vibe. Again, seeing that mother connection with the malachite heart chakra, copper, because malachite is a copper based crystal, also a carbon based crystal, you know. And again, as we speaking with, the set, we're not leaving from the set energy, you know. So malachite is one of the minerals surrounded by myths and legends in the Ural Mountains, or Ural, Ural, or Ural Mountains in central Russia. It was dedicated to the Lady of the Copper Mountain, a personification of Venus, whose rather ambiguous favors brought either bad or good luck to the malachite miners. Nobody was quite sure whether it was right to accept the gifts of this goddess, as in many cases wealth brings nothing but unhappiness. Some of those who declined to accept her gift went away happy and contented. This is probably an indication of the balance and justice of creation. You know, and dealing with that mother energy. You know. Malachite was always a woman's mineral and was always dedicated to a goddess in whatever culture. In Egypt, to Hathor, you know, in classical times to Aphrodite, aka Venus, and then Aphrodite, you know, had a child with with you know with this guy named Hermes, if I ain't mistaken, that's right. And Hermes is who they tried to like Jehudi, and then they turn it into Thoth, and then they turn it to Hermes. But Hermes also a representation of Mercury, you know, had you know, Hermaphroditus, you know. So matter of fact, so speaking of this Venus energy again being tied to this mother energy and this set energy, this androgynous nature, also comes up again indirectly, dealing with the Venus energy, with Aphrodite, you know, again connected to Venus, and connecting with Hermes dealing with Mercury, the messenger, and having a child named Hermaphrodites, which again dealing with the androgynous nature. And this is all, again, speaking of energy, a personification of energies, and as one, dynasty pass on information to the next, or as one, or lack thereof, these certain little, certain gods might turn into devils again. So that's how you get this vibe of Set being evil, or the devil, or Satan, or 666, Baphomet. That's scary. Ooh, spooky. Run away. Like that. That's where that whole vibe come from. So let me get back to this. So also another god is connected to in Northern Europe is connected to Freya. So malachite represented seduction, sensuality, beauty, curiosity, aesthetics, and the arts of the muses. It was considered to be the stone of paradise and later signified that we mortals ought to avoid it. It still has a scent of Lucifer about it to this day. Since the Middle Ages, it has been known that malachite alleviates menstrual problems and eases labor. For this reason, it is still called the midwife stone in folklore. So again, you see that connection. Come on back around, back around. To this primordial mother energy, the kundalini energy, the star Sirius, because Set is connected to the star Sirius energy, and the ancient ancestors, connecting back to the lions or the cats with 9 lives, and we in the womb for 9 months, of the triple darkness of the three trimesters, and all this information being connected. But again, what's going on? We're starting to realize, this vibe of the great old ones awakening. The Nephilim, the aliens. Even down to I spoke on that on with that was an Instagram video earlier. How Neil deGrasse Tyson even spoke. I'm like, damn, even old Neil feeling the ancestors kind of, because again, the floodgates opening. You could kind of just feel a vibe of being able to be fearless, and just courageous at speaking the truth. But he was like, man, in so many words. Like, matter of fact, shout out to Blue Pill, Red Pill, and Brother Rich for bringing that up on the video. Where he was like, in so many words, and I spoke to that in the video as well. Like, that ancient alien shit ain't nothing but just some other shit to try to take some way, take the vibe away from the indigenous people being, that advanced and being on this planet for that long. Again, when you got artifacts in the area, go research it. I don't have my book. I could reference it. Artifacts in Louisiana dating back to 8,000 years to 10,000 years ago in the area of the Sentinel Park by the state capitol. History of Baton Rouge in Louisiana has been enfolded in this 75 mostly square blocks for almost 10,000 years. Artifacts found in and around the ceremonial mounds that remains near the arsenal, uh, in Capitol Park, dates back to 8,000 years old. I don't have the name of this book. Oh, the name of the book, I think it was like it's Louisiana history. Speaking on Baton Rouge, but that's in Louisiana. We ain't talking about the Sphinx having water erosion that dates far back. We ain't talking about the old Mex. And I don't know if I might have spoke to that in the video. Yeah, I spoke to it today in some video. The old Mex having the old Michael Jackson nose. You know, and again, this is not about of course, you know, being nothing's wrong with being proud or should I say, happy about, learning about the history that, was once hidden from you. But again, not letting the heart weigh heavier than the feather. You know, this is part of, our experience, and again, just not getting caught up too much, you know, uh, in the matrix with the, dealing with the information, or beating your chest or getting too prideful or developing that superiority complex, but at the same time not hating yourself and downing yourself or not acknowledging information that is true. Like again, it's true that all this time, they're talking about the great old ones coming back. Shove nigger ass. And Cthulhu. And then also part of that story also I think in the Wrath of Cthulhu, not the Wrath of Cthulhu, the Call of Cthulhu, where it speaks to he bring up some stuff about Louisiana and some some voodoo going on in the bayous and stuff like that. Matter of fact, speaking to knowing about that vibe, and that correlates to me talking about the Saints winning this year because they're trying to throw off the people waking up in this area because that's how strong the vibes is to where shit. Again, you got Marie Laveau from out here, but then again with the vibe of like even what's his name, H.P. Lovecraft brought up this vibe. But again, the great old ones is also again a connection with the subconscious mind, the deep primordial subconscious mind. You done heard Terrence McKenna make jokes of like, our ancient, like dealing with psychedelics coming across our primordial ancient self, where it's so old and ancient, again we become spooked like of our own self, like of our higher self. But again, from the it's through that aspect because again, that's also what a lot of psychology deals with dealing with the shadow self. Because Carl Jung had ended up buying some Gnostic paperwork as well. And a lot of his psychology, you know break down the psyche, dealing with that information has to deal with that shadow subconscious against some whether that primordial or that chaotic, getting the right brain feminine energy, but again, there's something I was just speaking to. Matter of fact, that's also forgot the snake coming out the pharaoh head or the pharaoh hat. It's all connections. The snake around Shiva neck in the Hindu pantheon. All these different. Oh, as a matter of fact, I keep going on and off of that vibe, but like dealing with the seven deadly sins, the anime series where Meliodas is known as the dragon sin, and what he has to deal with is, he was once a demon, you know, and everything is about trying to make you scared of again darkness or this chaos demon, and also make you scared of being a god. Like these little Disney movies making like I think about Kubo is one of the ones that stand out. Obvious, like when your third eye open again, these types of things, a little propaganda become obvious at how much they're trying to scare, and then it's given to little children, trying to program our children to be scared of their God self. And we got to realize, religion been put here, basically to tame gods in essence, like that's all it is, we are gods on the human experience, and we don't need those moralistic, like those human morals is needed for people who don't know how to stop warring against people for just any old bullshit ass reason, you know, except to create some blood for some demons. That's who need morals, not like gods of a higher consciousness, you know. And again, when I say God's just an extension of, a source, within different little, these different little body suits. And again, that melanin, that carbon, has that connection. And even down to, again, with, some people that may not have melanated, body suits to the eyes, but have melanin in the, the neuromelanin, and again, it's about activating. Go check out my video about, melanin being like a genie, like where your wish is my command. But that's why for people with melanin, when they're not taking care of business, things could be even worse on them, aka the 400 years of of going through the bullshit. It's like, all right, you don't realize the God within yourself, so you're gonna go through it, as above so below. That's what you're going through internally, worshiping things outside of you and not realizing who and what you are, so you get this outcome, you know until your ass wake up. Pressure make a diamond. Diamonds are made from pure carbon, being pressurized, as above, so below. You know, again, and these is again, and cause I'm just one of the people that just like to stay clear and just state things clear. I should say, not stay clear, state things clearly as far as like, again, this is when we speak in the melanin and carbon, again, you as somebody who feel like, oh, I don't see no skin melanin or this and that. That's only because of you not seeing, not embracing, again, because to embrace anything that existed on this plane, and especially with spiritual knowledge and information, it goes way past, the Bible, the Quran, you know, Kemetic and Kush scripture, like it's way past, Lemuria, Atlantis, this existence, and to, getting back to that again, going far back to get the true, and real information, kind of like passing the message around a classroom of kids, and by time you could just be saying, Sally, walk down the street to get some candy, and you pass it through a class of 20 people, and they get to the last person, they like, candy. you know and that's what the Bible is. The Bible is the last person in that class saying candy. And not to say that, again, speaking straight up to the Bible, outside of this analogy, you know where there's still, like, there's still truths within the Bible. You still could, decipher what they put in front of you and get truths out of it. But again, down to missing, like, you missing a fat book, you missing, that I ain't got the book of Enoch. It is just a little small little version of the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha, you missing this little fat book out of the Bible. So this much missing from your Bible. And then you got another big book of Enoch missing as well. You know. So to be taking that as the end all be all, because my Jesus, Lord and Savior, because in the new revelations and testimony, and you don't even know that testimony and testament stands for the word testicles, and the reason why a woman could testify in church because she didn't have testicles. So she couldn't testify because my balls is my word, meaning my Jimmy Bond or my James Bond. And we talk about James Bond and 007. And you got 007, which is two balls in a cane because you got 0, 0, and the 7. It's like a penis. So my word is Bond, Jimmy Bond, James Bond. Again, all these little, cause that's one of the little things, with the Mason vibe, grabbing your genital area and saying two ball cane. But yeah, again, understanding what certain literature, comes from, you know, because again, the Bible, I did that video recently breaking down the Bible, and again, it has its certain truths in it. The Book of Revelation is kind of speaking to right now in that sense, or more so like just the fall in general of prophesizing the fall of that old paradigm, that old energy. And again, which that probably, no, while I'm here though. Oh, and that's another thing I thought about. As above, so below. Just like black holes suck in light, or heat. Think about the black hole and light, Lucifer, the light bearer. From darkness, let there be light. From the darkness of that black hole, let there be light. And when we wear black colors, it tends to get us hot. Like boy, you wearing all that black with the sun out, boy, you gonna be hot. 'Cause that black attracts heat. Attracts light. You know, so as above, so below, on so many levels. Again, right there, and showing you again, this is a story of energies and not, you know, there was actually a person named, you know, Lucifer, and so and so went to the store for him, and when so and so ain't go to the store for Lucifer, he shot Michael Jackson in his foot 3 times, and 3 times, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's allegory. Michael Jackson, I shit. Again, it's about the reawakening of the Nephilim. Those fallen gods. Appreciate the donation. That is greatly appreciated. You know, Matter of fact, I don't knock I never knock the super chats, but I always bring up while I'm thinking about it. Also, if you can, send in the donations to the PayPal link, cause super chat be trying to take all the bread and chain. But what's meant is meant, so that's why again I just bring it up. We ain't gonna worry about it. The abundance gonna flow like that. I appreciate that again. Matter of fact, also there's another thing with Soul Eater. That's another little anime show. I don't know if I got too much into it, but you had a little demon named the Kishin. The Kishin was like this chaotic, you know, being, this chaotic dark being, like, and don't let the Kishin madness get to you. You know what I'm saying? And the Grim Reaper was holding the Kishin, hostage. Because another thing with these animes, which they play on your psyche about, is like the perspective of what's good and what's evil. Because like they have the vibe of the people who so say fighting for good, fighting, but then don't know why they're being asked to do these things, and start to find out like, oh shit, I was working probably for a certain little agenda that may have not been too righteous, things of this nature. But I think about the Keishan from that vibe, and again, down to the Scorpio King coming out around October. Netflix is starting to get into the vibe like TV, so it's lining up with, you know, again, these stories. Everything is trying to scare you from the dark. Watch what I say, and this some of that shit where like this ain't in no book, none of that. Just watch as movies and shows and all this, you know, again, where some of it gonna be a mix too, cause some of it gonna shed a little light on the situation, promoting the feminine energy. You know, I think about like you got the little little shows trying to promote the little melanated characters and stuff like this. Luke Cage and the little lightning superhero stuff like this. But again, uh, don't let you got to be aware of what's going on dealing with those vibes. But and again, Meliodas from the seven deadly sins, dealing with the seven chakras, seven deadly seas, and Yemaya, the god of the sea, dealing with the her number is seven, seven deadly and Set opened up his mom's vagina, or the south gate his mom's vagina, which is like, you know, they say like the bottom of the Taurus field, you know, with an axe, you know, shaped like a seven. But anyway, Meliodas is like this demon-like being, and also he was carrying this broken sword that had like a dragon type of imprint. And again, he was known as the seven deadly sin of you know, the dragon deadly sin. And he was also again a demon that was cursed to live out his days within the physical plane, so he couldn't really die. But every time he died and come back, that energy, like that more chaotic vibe of his darkness, starts to come into play, you know. And I spoke about this on DMT trips, about like feeling this vibe of once being Lucifer, and like having, like seeing this going through this vibe of, again, having this certain empathy for that Luciferian energy. But again, it was more so for the deeper aspect of, again, like the true aspect of it, like, well, damn, this energy is being, you know, looked at as evil in essence, you know, when it's again, an energy to be aware of, and not, you know, but again, not to look at as evil or good or bad or this and that. You know, it's just energy that created a situation for our physical experience. You know, we on the movie set, you know. Speaking of set, you know, but again, and that's basically you know, spoke to the connection dealing with the malachite, you know, the Venus energy, the heart chakra, you know, and the copper deals with, you know, the female, you know, the female energy. And I'm gonna follow up with this other video. It'll probably be easier to do it separate. I don't want to do it now because sometimes I have good information, and again, I know people may not watch it, which I stay as positive as possible. You know, as far as like, you know, definitely want to be optimistic about people watching my long videos, which was real is, you know. Again, I could say that because that 11 video, again, that's a follow-up video to a certain extent with this one, so definitely go check out that one, you know, dealing with the set energy. But that one had a lot of views very quickly to say it was a long video, you know. But again, this connection with the serious energy, the chaos being awakened, you know, it's all about, you know, trying to scare people of this chaos being, you know, and also a lot of it is also to play on the psyche of, again, you know, melanated people awakening, you know, because a lot of the movie you think about, again, with Meliodas from that cartoon, you know, but like, will this person go to the dark side? Like, will their darkness take them over? Because their darkness is evil. Ooh, be scared of their darkness. Can we trust so and so? Because they also have darkness, you know, or half evil, this and that. Kind of like the gargoyles, like they're also a gargoyle. And also, this, again, this Magneto Xavier, you know, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, psyche of, you know, should we, you know, we should be nice and let the, you know, and it's overly polarizing, you know, again, to create a polarizing view of it instead of you balancing out yourself. Again, the mind control vibes of the MK Ultra trying to split your personalities and, you know, be able to command you into a certain personality, command you into Martin Luther King mode, or command you into Magneto mode, instead of you having your own psyche and being integrated within it, you know, and understanding the the uh, the balance where, again, not no turn the other cheek vibe when somebody's continuously, you know, oppressing you and trying to, you know, take you off. I say, let me not say it like that, but, you know, constantly trying to harm you and oppress you. You know, like, again, with like Xavier or the Martin Luther King vibe, or like, no matter how much we get slapped up, you know, let's always turn the other cheek, you know, no matter how much times we gotta get pissed on and shitted on, you know, no matter how many times, you know, and it's like, nah, that ain't necessarily the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, again, because we are beings, again, dealing with the heart chakra, Christ consciousness, and raising the Christ energy. You know, we naturally beings like, you know, you look around like who go through some shit from some people and still, because part of it is like, especially for, you know, melanated people in America, a lot of it is like what you call that syndrome from the kidnapper syndrome, where we nice to Europeans or white people more so from just, you know, being in slavery and kind of that mind frame of, you know, being like yes, a master, you know, that vibe. Stockholm syndrome, I think that's what it's called, if I ain't mistaken. Like where a kidnapper and fell in love with the kidnapper, you know, where they kind of like now, like it's like, oh, well, you know, you took me from my parents and my people and my land, you know, but shit, nah, I love you in essence, you know, in that type of vibe. But again, these different movies and stuff playing on again. Watch what I'm saying. This facts. When you watching this shit, you gonna see it. So it's gonna point to dealing with the darkness of primordial energy. Then it's gonna have to deal with what's right or wrong about the darkness. Like chaos shouldn't exist or chaos doesn't exist, or you know, and then also play upon, you know, again like saving the humans or not saving the humans, you know, like the world is better with chaos or the world is not better, but it's going to try to have you here or here, you know. A lot of it is again social engineering, subconscious programming, so you definitely got to definitely be aware of what's going on with you know, with these energies in these movies. But back to Gargoyles, you know, the Mona represents the primordial mother energy, and she also was like the Magneto figure in Gargoyles, because she was like the one, like, you know, these humans constantly, you know, because there were so many times that the humans kept selling them out and they would lose a lot of their family members. But you know, Goliath was like Xavier, like, well, you know, we just gotta continue to trust, continue to trust, continue to trust. You know, no matter how many times they fuck over us, we just gotta continue to, you know, trust that, you know, they gonna change, I guess, in that sense. Like, and again, that's where they trying to again program us to be on that vibe, or one or the other, either to be extremely docile or to be extremely militant on a level to where they could, you know, try to start, you know, or claim us as terrorists and try to start a war, you know, and that vibe, because that's what they're looking for, some type of physical confrontation as well. And that's why they constantly keep poking with you know, shooting the brethren down, stuff like that. You know, it's like they're trying to get the battle on their grounds. But again, you know, I'm a play it where it's my advantage. You know, I'm a god on a human experience. So you know, I deal with these altars. You know, my pineal gland open. You know, I could lucid dream and, you know, manifest certain things. So I'm gonna work on that level. You know, no, I'm not gonna you know, I'm not gonna try to step in the ring with you know, with somebody who know how to box when I ain't never boxed before. I ain't good at boxing, but I'm good at learning about information. You know, so I'm gonna stay in my little area. You know, in a sense, you know, not again, this is not turn the other cheek talk, but man, I've been going long, y'all, without looking up. I didn't go deep into the Lilith aspect, but like the 1111 video, I kind of speak on it a little bit. You know, Lilith consort is Samuel. Samuel is the serpent in the Garden of Eden. You know, that connection to Set. You know, as a matter of fact, and Set with Apep. Apep is the serpent. So like after the pre-dynastic, you know, vibes with Set. You know, they come later with the story, and you then implemented Ra and Osiris, and then you have Set defeating Apep, the snake. And matter of fact, I spoke to that before on that older video. You know, realizing again that the information I came across was not the pre-dynastic ancient, information, but the one that came after that. So that's why it was seeming like Set was killing the Kundalini energy, because again, it was it was when they started turning Set into something evil in that sense. So, but yeah, the Lilith energy basically, again, like the, the primordial, darkness, you know, also connecting with the carbon, as above, so below, from the darkness, let there be light. And then even with, the peoples, from darkness, let there be light, you know, where, melanated women could have, albino children, you know, and like you got the Solomon Island people, with like hazel eyes, like blind hair naturally. You got the people like from the Sentinel Islands with like these blue, dark skin, but like blue sea, deep sea blue eyes. You know, that's also a correlation to the Atlantis people. Think about Doreen Virtue book about Atlantis. I mean Atlanteans. Like beings that may come from Atlantis, and how like they like dark skin, blue eyes. You know that may be an Atlantean. That correlates to that information as well. But, and also again, Saturn also being Chronos, the father of time. And Chronos was locked up in Tartarus. Matter of fact, the name Tartar, you know, but being the deep abyss, you know, like so Tartarus was considered the deep abyss, but which Tartarus though was a offspring. See, like Tartarus was a part of the. I feel like you got the primordial mother energy and basically chaos, like the name chaos basically refers to the void or primordial mother, the state preceding the creation of the universe or cosmos in the Greek creational myths. And the first of the primordial deities, was chaos, and then followed by Gaia, earth, Tartarus, the neither abyss or nether abyss, and Eros, dealing with love. And Eros kind of the name that turned into erotic, dealing with love. I think that's also where you get, from Greek to Rome, Eros to turn into connection with Cupid, and certain love affairs. But again, also with the Leviathan energy. But, and I thought about again the demonation of that, that primordial feminine energy. You know, it was also shown in the biblical story, dealing with King Solomon and Queen of Sheba. And I just spoke to this the other day, where when Queen of Sheba went up, you know, uh, Solomon was wondering whether she was a demon or not. So he threw some water, like he acted like he spilled some water, but to where it could reach by a foot, so he would have to pull up on her, her little dress or whatever she was wearing, so her feet would show, so he could see whether her feet were like demon like or not, you know. I think that kind of also that little story kind of was pointing to Solomon's cleverness as well, but you know, because he was considered the smartest man in the land. But again, you know, that Queen of Sheba energy, you know, seen and looked at as possibly being something demonic, and you know, in the story of Solomon in the Bible. And I think about the show American Gods, you know, where, you know, in essence you had the Queen of Sheba on there, where she was like this prostitute, you know, that would suck men up through her vagina, you know, or her black hole, you know. So again, and it's a fact that our subconscious mind, you know, go check out again that video I did. It's right after the video on the Truman Show, the two-part video I did on the Truman Show. I did a long video on the subconscious mind as well, you know. And again, I'm doing my best on the timing of getting these videos put in a certain playlist, you know. But yeah, the Medusa, I spoke of Medusa earlier. Yep. Matter of fact, there's no coincidence too. Like the number with these sevens, you know, the Moors ruled from 700 to 1400 AD, you know, roughly, but you know, 700 years with that, and then there's also what 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita, I think. You know, again another 700 in the story of the Bhagavad Gita, you know, about, you know, again, the Christ energy Krishna, you know, the black dot, you know, Krishna, that's what the name breakdown and stands for. But, like, on the battlefield, matter of fact, I thought I had something written about this black dot energy. Krishna. Oh, and like the Dharma Yuddha, or the righteous war, you know, and you know, Krishna basically, the Bhagavad Gita is basically taking place in that Dharma Yuddha, or that righteous war, you know, that righteous war within, because it's a personification of an internal battle, you know, basically again like how Set versus Horus is a personification of a, you know, internal battle, but it shouldn't even be no battle in the first place. It's an understanding of energies that exist within you, you know, and at one time, you know, one you know, it was on point for one to be, you know, important. Now it's on point for another aspect of that energy to be, you know, more important. And not talking about masculine and feminine energies, but again, just that, you know, the understanding of, you know, at one time important to come down into the physical, important to remember the connection to the whole. But again, while in this lifetime, we still, it's not like we're trying to die tomorrow. But of course, somebody brought that up, you know, like about, like, you know, with the ancestors, and, you know, everything was about, you know, trying to, you know, how to transition out of this place, you know. But again, I definitely catch the vibe from my DMT trip, where, you know, I had that heroic dose, and I asked to stay genuinely. And I, like, again, that's why the experience is so important, because when you realize that the bliss that's behind being in the physical, like, again, like I asked, I'm like, bruh, so it's like I could stay, yeah, I could definitely stay, you know. Like, again, almost forgetting. And then too, I had that little vibe of being like, you know, like happy of wanting to stay, but then like, all right, yeah, I get that some people gonna feel like, oh, what happened to, you know, call Ray by this suit and this and that, but it's like, but that's a whole different. You know, and matter of fact, and when we talk about heart chakra work and Venus, matter of fact, Venus also at one time being a representation of the morning star. And again, if you wasn't watching this video earlier when I was reading about Malachite and how it talked about it having like that Lucifer energy and being connected to Venus, you know. So you're also seeing that correlation again with the Venus being connected to the morning star, the Lucifer energy, you know, or in essence the Christ energy as well, and as well as the mother energy, you know, the primordial mother feminine energy. You know, we talk about our energy on a scientific level, you know, dealing with heart coherence, you know, having a certain heart coherence, you know, means you know, having a certain, you know, vibrational alignment going on within our being, you know, as far as like you know, not being overly stressed out, you know, not always in a state of fear, you know, like basically being in a vibration of, you know, unconditional love, and not that old peachy unconditional love, or, you know, not say it like that, but, you know, when we say unconditional love, again, that Christ consciousness, knowing that, you know, you are all that exists. So, you know, you realize again, like loving thyself, you know, like again, it's like this unconditional love, you know, realizing again, this is a experience. So anything or you know, anyone that may seem like an enemy or against you is really just a part of your learning experience, you know. So there's nothing to, you know, hate. And that's also how your energy rises up, you know. Again, heart coherence, you know, because as much as, you know, it is about the subconscious God realization of realizing you are God on a human experience, but it also goes into the experience of having a healthy Taurus field, you know, a healthy heart coherence as well, you know, because we talk about the non-destructive wave interference, like what the Taurus field is again like a black hole. You know, we spend all our time, you know, we come out of a black hole and spend all our time going back into one. In essence, you know, it's all about the black hole at the end of the day. You know, for whatever is worth. Uh, But again, so like our eating habits, you know, affecting our auric field, and not taking it too much to head. That doesn't mean, you know, if you eat all healthy, that, you know, it's just gonna be blessed with a beautiful, you know, Taurus field, and you're just gonna ascend and risen. You know, like again, doing the subconscious work to know that you are God on the human experience, but then also, you know, with the alignment of you know, working with the chakras, and, you know, keeping your energy zone in balance keeps you with a healthy Taurus field, you know, and again having that certain little suction on your Taurus field, you know, allowing it to move, and also again after you transition out of the body, you know, having that, you know, that strength in the Taurus field to focus it to move in a certain manner. And speaking of tornadoes, you know, the reason why no natural disasters happen around the pyramids around the world, and, you know, it's because that fractality of, you know, that type of energy that the pyramids, you know, give off. Uh, you know, it has a certain fractality to it, meaning, you know, the measurements of it and the placement is connected with the, you know, the golden mean ratio, you know, and also Orion's belt, you know, which is also connected to that energy, you know. Which I was looking at the stars in the sky one time and was seeing almost like as if they had like this, you know, as above, so below, little expanding fractal energy to it, you know. But again, because matter of fact, Dan Winter always bullshit about how that's why, you know, trailer parks get hit during tornadoes. It's like all that metal, all that steel and aluminum, you know what I'm saying, and no fractality, you know. And he also speak about, you know, matter of fact, that's why I vibe with Dan Winters. He also speak about indigenous tribes and how, you know, the fractality that was built within the tribe, as far as like, you know, we would have houses. Say for instance, we had houses shaped like a square, and that mean the village would be in the shape like a square, so the houses would be laid out to shape a square shape, and then within the middle of the village, they would have the big square shape, you know, hut that would be for the, you know, the priest or the chief. And then within his hut, in the middle of that, they would have a square shape altar. You know, so basically creating a fractality in a certain, golden mean energy. That's the same thing with Stonehenge. You know, that energy. You know, again, you know, makes it, how can I say, easier for, live enzymes and for energy of life to thrive in. You know what I'm saying? That fractal energy. You know, and again, that's why like a tornado basically feels as if it's one and the same. And I use this example too. Like that's why like a lot of bees, and like animals start to kind of come closer to us or vibe with us heavy as we're raising our vibration and becoming more connected with our higher self, because we're building, a certain level of fractality, within our Taurus field. Matter of fact, basically becoming almost like mimicking the energy of a tree or something. 'Cause that's the vibe I caught as, as these things flying around and stuff like that. I'm like, they probably feel like I'm some type of tree or something, because again, they just picking up on energies, and that goes to show you too at how that Wi-Fi and stuff could throw off the bees and stuff like that, because they pick up on energies more than. It ain't about just them seeing flowers and knowing like, nah, it's a lot of you know, in essence, for lack of a better word, brain waves or just wave-like communication. Let's just say dealing with the bees, but again, the tornado. So again, back to, and I saw something about Russia building tornadoes. That's probably might be why they dealing with it. But again, these pyramids, you know. Having a certain fractality about them. And matter of fact, speaking of the pyramids with measurements, this is also, we speak about cathedral, cat and hydra, cat geometry, you know, mimicking, trying to mimic again the pyramids, with cathedrals and like with the stone masonry, building Solomon's temple, but building things with these certain measurements to create a certain level of fractality within buildings. I'm sorry. And matter of fact, the British unit of measure closely connects with the fractality of the golden mean ratio. But again, that's what's trying to be mimicked with all these, buildings being built a certain way, and these, churches having these structures and three pillars right here and all that type of, And in the Bible verses, when you do the gematria of a lot of, ancient texts, but again, also with the Bible verses, it break down into numbers that will correlate to, certain measurements, like from the pyramids, and then certain measurements connecting with the cosmos, excuse me. So again, that's why, these tornadoes hit up a trailer park or something like that, because again, all that metal and steel, it's giving off this harmful vibration. So it's like, wait, this not a part of nature. This not one with me. Let's thrash this. This is harmful, and it comes, at that energy, compared to like, again, and that energy is also just so protected, and it does something with this realm for sure. Because to say, that these certain oppressing powers that be, try to take over and do all kind of stuff, but they ain't never blew up or fuck with the pyramids. That says a lot right there. That definitely says a lot. But that's basically it. Again, I just gotta make sure I'm connecting, because I got some strong builds, again, that definitely connect this information very smoothly, because again, a lot of it is different little book gnosis, but for the most part, a lot of information is a correlation of just all the gnosis again throughout my journey, throughout my path, you know, and again, like, dealing with my altar work, being led to, certain information. Matter of fact, I thought to use that as example earlier about like, you know, connecting with the ancestors, you know, like where I went in the store the other day and I just was like, I had the vibe to buy some type of cantaloupe, some type of little melon. And then, come like a few days later, I got this vibe of like, man, I want to start to work with another Orisha, again, because I'm starting to see more and more the vibe of like, well, wanting to work with all of them in essence, because, this is the full body spectrum of, my being, dealing with the ancestors of Orishas, that's why in most cases, again, speaking of seven, a lot of cases, seven Lawas and seven Orishas, but I come across these melons and wanting to buy these melons, and then you know, come to find out, like I'm again wanting to work with another Orisha, so I'm like, man, Yemaya, something other. 'Cause I was thinking something other than Oshun, and I was like, Oya or Yemaya, and I was like Yemaya, which I'm gonna work with Oya as well. Because again, as much as they talk about those energies, like beef and all the story of Oshun and this and that. Because matter of fact, thinking about Ogun and kind of being like, I remember at one time like, do I want to Ogun? I was saying, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, all right, nah, these are energies. But I had to work that out of me, before I could really get into, realizing. But again, back to the story with the melons, was about to, again, wanting the melons, didn't get them. It comes some days later, like, all right, start working with Yemaya and find out like what she likes is offerings. And one of the things she likes is offerings is melons, you know. So again, matter of fact, that's why journal work is important. And matter of fact, and just keeping up, keeping the memory, growing, because I could go back to that moment and realize like, oh shit, all right, that's why I wanted the melons, a few days back, because it was spirit, letting me know that, to start working with this energy, you know, like pointing me in that direction, and again, once we start working with it, the more and more the magic energy, amplifies in essence. Just like the more and more we start to reading about law of attraction and synchronicity, more or less synchronicities we get, the more it becomes more believable, that we are, God on a human experience. Just like again with me tying all this information again, like, all right, damn, there's some connection, with the seven chakras, and them always making a snake seem scary, again from Medusa to, any different type of beings in the stories, from Tiamat to Leviathan to Samuel dealing with Lilith, or like with Lilith making the female look bad, or this is chaos, this woman has lost her mind, but logic, masculine logic is here to save the day again. You're gonna see a lot of that little social engineering and subconscious programming being played in a lot of these the little, the animes and movies and cartoons coming out on Netflix and in the industry, in general. It's all gonna be again. And also reinforcing old shit to see where everything at. They reinforcing the outer space shit. Like, oh, going to Mars and moon landing. And matter of fact, I gotta do that post. I got a post while I was in CVS earlier, and I was like, I made a little video about being grateful for, for getting confirmation on certain information I speak of. Matter of fact, even down to, matter of fact, how I spoke on me bringing up that malachite, like how I did a video about malachite, transforming or basically evolving, but how this wasn't in any books and stuff like that, how it was just on my channel, but I had to be brave enough to share the information. But then come down the line, I see all these correlations with copper, heart chakra, the Venus energy, you know, the morning star, the setting, the primordial mother, and it being you know, a good stone for midwife and then bringing life into this world on a mother level. You know, it's like, oh shit. So, you know, in so many words, the malachite transforming, but again, like more so, well, you could say transforming because again, for lack of a better word, but you know, like this primordial mother energy is, you know, stepping this malachite to a different level, so to speak. You know, like its energies are, and more so too, its energies are more of a importance, you know, right now as well. But you know, matter of fact, today too, you know, deal with, you know, working with Yemaya. One of the popular days is September 7th. You know, like popular celebration days, I should say, because that would only come around annually. But September 7th, again, the serpent, the seven. You know, think about the crystal septarian. You know. As a matter of fact, septarian deals with, you know, giving us space. Like septarian promotes us, you know, having that alone time. You know, I forgot how to speak on it, but basically though, in so many words, again, you know, it promotes a certain energy that kind of give people the vibe to give us some space in essence and allow for us to be to ourselves. But I think about also like how being to ourselves could be seen on a small level, not no big level, but just to draw the comparison, like, you know, with being to ourselves, you know, with like you know, not being impassionate, but you know, just kind of, you know, forgetting compassion for this outside world and just tuning to myself, you know, for a second. But I think about that connection with, again, like the reptilians were said to have telepathy so strong that that's why they lack compassion. And you would think about like, well, damn, how could a being with a super strong telepathic connection, you know, look like being connected would give us a stronger level of compassion. But it's like, nah, you connected, you know, so strongly together for that long, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, our energies, you know, I'm constantly listening to your head conversations, constantly listening to, you know, where we always connected at all times. Then how could I ever miss you or have compassion for you when I'm always hearing your mind, you know, and always connected to your mind? Then, you know, I'm gonna start to lack compassion because I'm always around you compared to when we know we have a little space and I go over here for a little while, like, oh, I miss you so and so, oh, man, I love you, you know, because the whole story of us separating from our, you know, projecting ourselves a little bit away from our high self and going on this experience to a certain extent, you know, is also, uh, you know, allowing for that experience to, you know, also grow that strength in loving our higher self, loving that inner source, you know. But when we always around source all the time, you know, just interconnected at all times, you know what I'm saying? Like that could be like boring until that one energy, like, you know what? Let's create a physical experience, you know, something that's a little different, not no good or bad thing. Again, like with Saturn, of course they use Saturn energy to amplify their little antics, you know, dealing with, you know, because the Saturn energy deals with the black cube, you know, and the cube also has 6 sides, and you think about 6 sides, deal with the word hex. You know, again, that hex or the 666, but the little black cube, and you know, you deal with Saturn and the black box, and that's why the Ashkenazi Jews worship, you know, their Sabbath on Saturday or Saturn's Day, you know, on Saturday, you know, in the Holy Biblios or the Sun Book or the Holy Bible and the other the form of Christianity deal with Sunday, you know, or the day of Ra or the day of the sun, you know, the Son of God, you know, aka Jesus. Jesus heals all. But you know, that's the whole vibe. Matter of fact, this hat standing for the Saturn energy. You know, the black and red colors as well. You know, Saturn also deals with the metal lead. You know, lead is one of the heaviest metals. You know, when you think about rock and roll and dark energy and representing the black and dealing with Aleister Crowley, you know, you think about heavy metal. You know, lead or that Saturnian energy. You know, the root chakra. You know, black and red, red. You know the crystals that deal with that energy. You know, the black obsidian. You know, I love my black obsidian. You know, the shungite. The shungite, basically, when you have elite shungite, you know, that's basically a shungite that's 98% carbon. So basically, like walking around with a little chunk of carbon. You know, and it's great for detoxifying the body. You know, as above, so below. The great old ones. You know, the Nephilim. You know, are awakening to detoxify the body of you know this plane of existence, but also too to realize that this plane of existence is not, you know, the end all be all, and that this is an experience that we're passing through. You know, we just are passing through. In fact, I gotta watch Westwood. I mean Westwood or Westworld. Westworld. I think that's the name of it. My brother was talking about. That's another personification again, like getting caught in Chuck E. Cheese with the lights off. Matter of fact, go check out that video I did about being in Chuck E. Cheese with the lights off. You don't want to be caught in Chuck E. Cheese when the lights are off. But yeah, Baron Shine there also. Yep, yep. The Saturn energy. You know, Gay Day Dapsine Lawa, which deals with the sexual energy, you know, the lower chakras. Taurus field, Taurus field. That's US field. Taurus field. Uh, do if you unfamiliar with a Taurus field in general, you just have to go look it up. You know, first, but it's again like this apple shape, donut like shape. You know, energy field that we kind of standing in essence. You know. Yeah, I feel like being in the eye of the storm. I did a video too about like again like why we resonate with the the female body, again being in the Taurus field, being like being in the vagina, that black hole, that yoni. We speak of the vesica Pisces. And again, I'm gonna do this because again I did this in another video, but I try my best to, while it's on my mind, bring up anything that I remember from older videos. Don't laugh at my circle, but you got the one consciousness by itself. You got the one, the vibe of consciousness, and then as consciousness reaches out, but so far, and it expands in a certain little radius around itself. So it's consciousness, awareness reaches out this far. So, it's the conscious, being, let's just say, and its conscious awareness reaches out this far. Then, it moves to the furthest point of its conscious awareness, stops right there, and reaches out its conscious awareness from that area. And again, excuse my horrible drawing. So when it expands out, and then now, and that's also explaining the energy of the number two, but say for instance, that one goes to the 2. And matter of fact, you see 2 nipples, breast. You also, you see the ass, you see the vesica Pisces, the vagina, you know, the yoni. So again, from that single energy, of source, again, there's no necessarily beginning or end, but the eldest energy, dealing from masculine or feminine would be the feminine energy, you know, that quote unquote in essence came first, for lack of a better word. And again, you see it even in the geometries of that consciousness expanding. And now in this place right here, it could observe and look at its old spot, for the first time. Like, oh, all right, that's how it looked when I was sitting right there, you know. Like when we talk about the energies of numbers, let's see. Number one, an idea that grows in a predictable step-by-step progression. Two, symbolizes that idea reaching out, being received by others, and getting the cooperation needed to continue its growth. You know, and then three, brings the idea to others for inspection and approval, which is kind of like the communication, which that's why number three in Papa Legba dealing with communication. Stepping into that third little area. And the Trinity, the mind, body, and soul. But again, and also Papa Legba represents the solar phallic energy. And if I make a third circle will represent the testes and the phallus, and that masculine energy. Again, we see that the correlations is all across the board. From the darkness of the womb, man, let there be light, I say. And that's another thing too, getting to that point where now I'm bringing up more of like, because a lot of this is again backed up by a lot of books. I think about some books dealing with the Venus energy, and I say just the Venus energy, but kind of, you know, like I got Myths of the Mesopotamia by Stephanie Daly, The Dragon Legacy by Nicholas D. something, I forgot his name. This is a matter of fact, shout out to the Brethren Bobby Hemmett, because that's another thing too, where like we're getting not only, vibing off of, my own little inner gnosis and book gnosis. But again, when I'm being guided to certain videos, and then I'm being guided to somebody that does lectures and like to basically like almost any and all books that he come across, he is bringing it up, within his videos. But I think about one thing that I deal with on that same level is how he spoke to, again, like it's like, man, I don't read all these books. It's like spirit guide me to a certain level, area of a certain book sometimes, and of course he was saying not to say that he haven't read any books or nothing of that nature, but again, like sometimes it's just being guided to the exact points that draw the parallels, Again, the same thing that I'm doing, this is more so through, divine higher gnosis. Because here it is, like I only been dealing with this information, for, you could say roughly a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but drawing all these parallels even this far, and I even haven't been anybody that's been studying for 10, 20, or 30, years, or, toot toot my own horn. But at the same time being humble, because as much as I'm at the beginning of my growth, so I could never even feel like uh like it's always room to grow, in so many words, and it's definitely not a race, even though that Capricorn energy within me, trying to climb that mountain, you know make it like a race sometimes, or at least try to. that's basically it. And again, how the Kundalini energy, raising our Kundalini, having a bliss experience, raises up the vibrations within. So again, that connection again to the black holes. As a matter of fact, the ancestors basically were black holes in essence. You know, and we again back to the umbilical cord situation being connected to the Ophiuchus, or the center of the galaxy, the black hole. That's basically it. Matter of fact, another little fear of God situation I done brought up though in the video. Again, a religious system is being used to tame gods. Fearing our power, like the Batman versus Superman movie, where like Superman ain't flipping out doing nothing wrong, being himself, with the rest of the humans, and that's always a storyline. Cause the two, they not gonna try to correlate, melanated people or black people, and other like nah, they not about to tell you the straight up story. It's gonna be parallel to something else. But you think about again Batman and the people like, but what if Superman? But what if Superman do this? And what if? And what if? And what if? Fear, fear, fear. You know, what if? What if? Let's control. Let's control. Again, I always speak to that's why a dog is a man's best friend, because man could control a dog, that logical mind. Dog to no matter what stupid shit you want to do, whatever, and not knocking. It's not the dog fault, but that's why. Again, that Batman vibe, showing again the personification of that masculine logic vibe, created by, the control of the European older white man. But that whole mind frame again, the fearing, the Nephilim, fearing the giants, fearing the great old ones. Again, H.P. Lovecraft will look at, all your favorite Stephen King, anybody that deals with horror, is a fan of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu. And again, I spoke on how that even in his works, he speak on a connection to Louisiana. We're dealing with voodoo and some bayou, and this monster coming out of the swamps or something like that, if I could recall the information that I just looked at. But again, you seeing, and again, show up nigger wrath up in the in the Necronomicon. There's no coincidences with all these energies. Again, the personification of also the subconscious mind, dark, the deep depths of the subconscious mind. It's always symbolized by, waters. These movies starting off like with waters, and go check out my video where I speak on, break down the Truman Show. Whenever he on waters and having to go out into that water is like going into that, that you have to be courageous and trust your heart, that Venus energy, that mother energy, to step into that mother energy of that, that those dark depths of the unknown. What I'm saying? But that's where the pure potential at is, in those unknown areas. Like that's where all the best things at. Like Will Smith talked about, like his experience with bungee jumping, or was it bungee jumping or skydiving? One of them. But it's like shit. All the best things is in the area of like where you fear. Like all the things you fear. That's what you know. Again, it's all that connection. to the snakes, the chaos beings, the darkness, the number 7 and the number 9. All some type of little correlations. I digress, y'all. Time for my little brain to chill out. I appreciate the love and support too. You know, and again, sharing this information. A lot of my gnosis is a mixture of again, of course, inner gnosis, but like with like the information that I got from like researching videos and well, mostly the videos. So let's speak on the video. Like a lot of Dan Winters and Bobby Hemmett work. You know, definitely. These both people you could look up on here. But again, also from following the work through my own inner gnosis and own correlations of, you know, being led to certain information, and always be realizing how strong my intuition has been throughout life or lead me to, you know, knowing what's really going on or feeling some kind of way about when I come across information of like what's really going on. Like something feel funny about this. You know, even down to getting information from a Dan Winters or Bobby Hemmett or Phil Valentine, whoever, you know, it's like it's still a vibe of feeling like with knowing like all right, when they speaking on this, it sounds like they throwing their own most of their own little perspective on it, you know. Because again, even down to me when I share information, like which of course I do my best to make it be known, like you know, hey, but that's mostly just me kind of you know vibing on this side of the situation, but you know, like say for instance, me clowning the Jesus situation, like the Jesus, you know, that's just me being like that scorn old Catholic part of me that feels scorn about sitting through that bullshit, you know. But again, as I'm saying it, knowing that I chose that situation for myself, so I can't get mad. But you know, well, I might speak on it on a strong level, but that's again a little bit more of my perspective, you know, that little inner scorn is kind of coming out. So as much as I be speaking truth upon it, you know, I may emphasize certain little things due to my own experience, you know, like how, like matter of fact, you know, how we may emphasize, you know, being able to do alchemy with the mind, like, and you know, like, oh man, I could, you know, fucking eat 1,000 pounds of sugar and still, you know, sin, you know, like where I might say something like that, but that's more so my personality to just kind of explain it on the exaggerate, you know, exaggerating type of vibe. Not necessarily exaggerating because we all capable of these things, but again, you feel what I'm saying? Like, well, you know, saying it on a type of level and not, and then after saying that, not saying now, you know, hey, look, I'm just putting extra emphasis on it to show y'all, you know, the level. But like, well, you know, if I just say, oh yeah, I could do this too, I could eat 1,000 pounds of sugar, you know, and then I'm kind of giving off the vibe that, oh yeah, y'all, you know, and I say giving off the vibe because I realize too, when you dealing with this much information and sharing it, man, you know, it's very difficult to cover your ass on all, like on every single word of information that you share. Like, you know, say for instance, like I'm not even deep into no type of career and I got 1,000 videos, you know, like you know, you know, it's very difficult to be precise on every single fucking word that you know you're using when sharing this information. That's why I like, but also with me following up because it is about making sure the real message get through. Because somebody question like me where they ask like, oh, so you're saying Seth is homosexual or this and that. And a little question, they questioned another video. I'm like, all right, that just means, regardless if they didn't really get the gist of like what I explained, and I explained it good enough to catch on to what, you know, what message I was, delivering. I'm gonna still like the fact that this person walked away without fully grasping it. That means I need to just, just do a little better job. Cause again, it's about perfecting your craft. Being getting this better is better. Like I'm good at the fadeaway jump shot, but let's try it with somebody in my face now. You know what I'm saying? Like with practicing sports and stuff like that. You get you work to get better and better. With time. Kind of like again with me doing this video. Matter of fact, almost 3 hours in. Matter of fact, again, speaking to that ancient, comedic vibes, and just a lot of like Gerald Massey is a brethren that he ain't too liked in the occult, environment, but more so in those back in those days because he was bringing up ancient Egypt, Kemet in the light that really brought up, the primordial God pantheon, you know, and how how later the demonization of Set and this energy come about. But again, Gerald Massey book, Gerald Gerald Massey Massey. The book is called Ancient Egypt: The Light of the World. And I haven't read this yet. Matter of fact, because even again, like I be dipping in and out of certain little books. I definitely got to get in that book and that Kenneth Grant outside the circles of time. And again, y'all could hit me up and my Instagram. My Instagram is Universal Frequencies. And I also got that book Cyclomancy. You know, and for because it started off with the Cyclomancy book giveaway. I tell people, just shout out, like if you got an Instagram, shout out your favorite, a video or the video that helped you the most or whatever on your Instagram, tag my name in it, and DM me and let me know that you did it or done, or I see it pop up. But regardless, just let me know you done it, and I'll send you the book. But then also on some real shit, because it ain't about promoting no social media. Uh, at the end of the day, which is not about just that. Like it's more so promoting my YouTube channel, so more people could be open into seeing what I'm talking about. And not necessarily about no fame type of thing. But again though, because again it's not just about that. Like even if you don't like if you just gotta make an Instagram just to contact me to to get the video sent. I mean the book sent, and you're not able to post your favorite video, whatever. It's all good regardless. Again, it's about making sure that whatever I'm sharing, it allows for you to become just as good, just as aligned as I am. To contact higher self and be as good as me. But blessings, y'all. I mean, a lot of these energies cross up. Just how the set Saturn, Chronos, energy, but how, say for instance, all right, like how the Hermes energy is also Mercury, and Mercury also tied to Jehudi and Thoth, but the Jehudi and Thoth energy, or Thoth, or more so Jehudi, also where you get the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah also deals with the Leo constellation. So here it is, you got Jehudi or Thoth, which later in Greek, in Greece they changed his name to Hermes, and again Hermes, dealing with Mercury, that energy. But then you know, again, with the name extension within the Bible and going into the tribe of Judah or King David, that energy, again, dealing with a whole another constellation with the Leo constellation. But still, again, like the energies are still correlated in essence. Jehudi or Tota is almost like a lot of energies across the board. I mean, I even heard of it being connected to the set energy as well, but I haven't done enough of research in that area to co-sign on that. But oh no, yeah, when I do live videos for the most part, especially like it's more so just for that live connection of being in the moment, and not pick up on a few little questions here or there. Because a lot of times, too, a lot of people, I do a video, like, say, for instance, on what I did, and then people asking me questions way outside of what the video was about. So here it is, why I plan to do a video on something, and if I go to trying to answer questions while I'm doing a video, I go to telling the story of my life, and this video happens to be about primordial mother energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I saw that I had to be you know aware of that, and it's about making content that's good for the viewers. Can't allow niceness, because if a person can't understand that situation, then then communication. Not being stiff. I spoke to this earlier in the video. Not being too stiff on the vibe views. I'm gonna just fall back on my statement. But you know, listen. Particle think. Blessings. Arthur Foster. Blessings. Just kind of going back a little bit. Arthur Foster, when you spoke on the outer expression of you with a question mark, what were you talking about? Are you saying Taurus field? Yep, Taurus field. Taurus. Taurus field. Which to a certain extent kind of connects to, the again from that consciousness, starts to realize, like I drew them circles, that conscious being starts to become aware of itself. You can almost think of that as the activation of the Taurus field as well. And also, you know, think about, like, you got the ram, as Aries, the first zodiac sign, and then Taurus, the second zodiac sign, again with the circles. Going to the second zodiac sign, you get the Taurus field with the because again, that's also what that is. In essence, it's like that Taurus field, that energy, going inward, kind of like how the magnets, connect. It's basically like, the Taurus, and Taurus, it's the second constellation. I mean, second zodiac sign next to Aries. So again, just see the correlations. If you watch all of this video, and again, I connect these other videos, together as well, but. All right. Warrior star, blessings. And I just did a video, hey there, I just did a video not too long ago on, the Papa Legba and Jesus, you know, like that has an energetic correlation. But again, all these different, cause matter of fact, the Papa Legba energy also connected to, uh, Ganesha, in the Hindu pantheon, Ganesha, you know, uh, opening the door, clearing obstacles, just like Papa Legba opening the door, with the matter of fact, stemming from the name Ishu, Ilewa or Ishu, going to Ganesha. Yeah, yeah. Greetings, supreme rose, blessings, bear boundless beauty, blessings, thou Martin. But that's basically it, y'all. Again, I think I took the claw again. I got some cause I'm gonna just do that in a different video dealing with these movie references. Because I also want to add some other movies to it, which I kind of briefed on it a little bit in this video, but I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. But yeah, that's basically it. Again, the primordial energy. Right now, dealing with communication. Beware of stiffness and opinion and ideals and philosophy. You don't want to be too stiff in the ideals. Communication with self. Again, we got Mercury in retrograde, and then you got Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, Gemini, like the full moon in Gemini. So again, a lot of mental chatter, a lot of air energy, being in our minds. So be aware or be careful of, not being in your mind too much. Like, constantly check yourself for being in the moment. Like I always do to myself, like what I'm doing right now. If I catch myself like in any type of thought of, going to the past or reminiscing when it's not relevant, and the mind has a way of being sneaky where to make it seem relevant or like it's harmless at the beginning, then they'll quickly just turn to where you just in a perpetual thought of just constantly going back and back and into old event till you thinking about some shit that again no longer serve you, because a lot of us on our spiritual growth and a lot of past events don't serve us to bring it back up, in a lot of cases. Say for like a lot of us that not so long ago getting over drug usage and stuff like that. It's like, you know, it's cool to acknowledge like, oh yeah, I've been through some things, but I'm not gonna constantly talk about, you know, them days and that, you know. Like I think about it like with expressing myself over like music, I know for sure, like I express it, but again, it'll have relevance to that now because that's therapy, to release, sharing these little moments over music, you know. That's why to a certain extent, not knocking anybody who, expresses, any and all aspects of themselves, from the darkness to the light, Some of our dark areas do deal with, possibly losing somebody or dealing with certain situations that may be quote unquote negative, but it's that expression, letting it out. Burning calories right now may not be a good time to be practice being breatharian. You might want to eat. And again, unless fasting just really seems like it's just the best, like undeniable move. Like it's just so much the best move that that is just the best move. But other than that, don't be starving yourself because again, we going through we going through the black hole, and I don't know too much about like I don't get too much into the vibes of like the roundness or the flatness of the earth unless source calls me to at least chime in on in some type of way. But like when we speak of these poles shifting, like I do feel some type of vibe of like because I feel like the stars is in, I don't know, not say way different positions, but I feel like things are changing subtly. Like intuitively, I be feeling like when I look at the stars, like it's in a certain way that wasn't, I don't know. Just, just keep that in mind with that pole shifting situation. But, uh, the juicy fruit, peace, fam, Shahi, Hajo, blessing. Yeah, this one. This one is for the archive, not say for the archives, because I think archiving some meaning deleted, but this one is for the for the records, whatever. But that's basically it, y'all. Matter of fact, what's the name of that book? Dealing with, because again, that's why I didn't call out all those books, because it was dealing with the Bobby Hemmett lecture, dealing with Venus, but not necessarily just speaking to Venus energy per se. Because he even had referenced a book called The Black Sun, and they speak about the situation with them eating the pineal glands and stuff with the the Bush. I don't know, Bush the first or the second Bush. That whole situation. Another book called Synchronicity and the Seven Seals by Peter Moon. Another book he referenced in that video. But that's basically it again. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like the video. If you want to support, you always want to. It always feel you're trying to find like that vibe of like trying to say this the right way or this and that. Which again, you don't want to just be like, just throw me some money, or something like that. But I don't know. That's just me dealing with that situation. But again, if you appreciate the information, videos help you in any way, form, or fashion. You just want to, again, support me and the epic lifestyles, brand or business. The donation link is in the in the description or details of each video. To my PayPal, to the dream, the epic lifestyle dream fund. Any and all donations is greatly appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Universal frequencies. Spelled just like this channel. But that's basically it. Yep. I said it all. Yeah, I could try to because again, if I don't remember, it's always here in the video. You know, but I do my best because it's a balance. You know, I do my best to do what I can for people. But again, with the fact of me saying the names and spelling them out, you know, there is the fact that you can go and look back at the video, but I do want to make it as easy as possible without me overstraining myself. So, you know, I'm pretty sure I remember to put the names in the description box as well. I had to joke on that, but appreciate the love and support, everybody. You know, again, the great old ones. It was serious. The energy is getting very serious, very, very serious. SIRIUS, that is. But peace, happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. And we're not going too far in the future. And we're not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace, peace. Blessings, y'all.